Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Agro Plus and PhycoTerra. Today we have Lexi Antos from PhycoTerra. She's here to talk about her product, and yeah, with that, we'll let her get started. And if you have any questions, just type them in the chat or the Q&A, or just unmute yourself and speak up, and we'll take questions as they come in. So with that, I'm going to disappear and let Lexi take over.
Okay, perfect. Well, hi, I'm Lexi Antos. So I'm from Killam, Alberta. I've worked retail the past 4 years. I sold crop inputs at Co-op. I kind of got approached to this opportunity, and I just seen that every big company, if you will, is starting to put their money towards the biological space or different products of that sort. So I thought, might as well get on board and try and learn about something. And I found one that was pretty cool. So yeah, if you got any questions, feel free to ask. So PhycoTerra is our main product. So the idea is we feed your soil microbes. When your microbes are eating, we can increase your soil aggregation, which then helps your water holding capacity and it helps more nutrients be available to your plant. If you have healthier soils, healthier plants, you should have a better yield. So it's derived from microalgae. So microalgae is a single cell organism that converts sunlight and water, carbon dioxide, so photosynthesizes. So it's not macroalgae like that you see on the sloughs. It's micro, so it's single celled, very small. So this company is actually located in Phoenix, Arizona, which for something that needs a lot of sunlight works pretty well. So they grow it there. Every 2 weeks, a batch is harvested. Then it's pasteurized. So this product is inert. It's not a living organism. We add some phosphoric acid as a carrying agent, and then it's put into jugs or totes, and that's how it's shipped. So this microalgae is a superior food source for the microbiome. Like it's been working really well. There's application is pretty easy. It mixes. To date, we haven't found anything we don't mix with. We're always kind of growing our active library, if you will. So yeah, we most commonly are with liquid fertilizer in furrow, or we can be applied with pre-burn. So throw it in with your glyphosate when you're going out in the spring. So yeah, we've seen a lot of benefits, and yeah, because we're so small, we mix well, and we're not living, so we're not damaging what else you're pairing us with. I really think this slide's pretty cool. So this was done in our lab, but every little yellow circle is a PhycoTerra cell, if you will. And these are 2 soil bacteria, and it's just showing that they're super small, and it is a superior food source. They're going after them. They're easy for them to eat. So I just think it's cool. We can actually see that. So for every one of those yellow circles, we can prove exactly what's in it. So we have a guaranteed analysis for every batch. So we're 22% lipids, 26% protein, and 48% carbohydrates. It's a nice balanced diet. We point out the ash content. I think it's just good to notice because there's lots of products in the market that are pretty high in ash content. Ash isn't a usable source of energy for the plant, so it's just nice to see just a number to compare, really. So 75% of the microbes in your soil are dormant. So in a single teaspoon of soil, we can find 1 billion bacteria and 1 million fungi. So if 75% of that is dormant. So our idea is let's wake up what's in our soil already and get them working. So 100% of the time, we can prove a soil response. So we can take some of your soil, put it on an agar plate, we can incubate it, a control and a set with PhycoTerra, and we will see different colonies of bacteria and fungi being fed. This red circle over here around where it says secreted glues, so that's really important. Those glues are what actually holds soil together. So when we see that, it's a very positive response. So that's what's going to help with our soil aggregation. We actually just did this on the table at Ag in Motion last year over the 4 days. Or sorry, it was in September, but we also did this one at Ag in Motion. And so we had a control and the treated one. And so all that white fuzz is called hyphae. Again, it's the structure that helps hold the soil together. So the more growth of that we see, the more positive result we're getting. I know this says a lot of American places right now. I'm working on getting some Canadian, more so Albertan soil samples. So hopefully pretty soon this will look a little different, but all the pHs and the soil types are different, so you can kind of appreciate that aspect. But we're constantly seeing an increase in the microbiome activity when we're using this PhycoTerra. So application timing, as said before, we've got pre-seed or pre-emerge and then in furrow. So if you're using liquid fertilizer, it's a really great option. We mix well with fertilizers, herbicides, fungicide, pesticide, adjuvants, insecticides as well. So it's not on the list, but to date, we haven't seen anything we don't mix with. If we're worried, we just do a jar test, or we can send it down to the lab. But yeah, because we're single cell and super small, we haven't really seen any issues yet. So that's been great. Stack modes of action. So up here, I mean, we're getting into this world for sure. It's kind of getting forced upon everybody, if you will. Down south, there's lots of people using 1 or 2 or even 3 different kinds of biologicals, if you will. So PhycoTerra really is the only one we know of that's a microbial food source. Some things are more acting like on the plant or their hormones. Some are peptides. Some are the seaweeds and kelp, so they help manage stress hormones. The humics and fulvics, which have been great, really help for that nutrient retention. But as far as a microbial food source, we are finding that we're working really well and we're pairing excellently with everything else. So basically, this is kind of just a diagram just to kind of compare, I would say, the major ones on the market. So um, like I said, that ash content before, we're pretty low. Some of the seaweed products are pretty high in that. It's not a usable source of energy for the plant, so that's not always a great thing, but we do pair well with everything. But as far as feeding the microbes in our soil, um, yeah, we've found that we're pretty superior to anything else. Sugar's great, but they kind of die off. So if you the analogy I've stuck to, if you give a kid a bowl of Skittles, they'll have a spike in energy and then they'll kind of crash. Or we're at more of a turkey sandwich, so they eat a turkey sandwich, they kind of have energy throughout the day. So for soil aggregation, I think this is a really important part of helping fix the soil structure. So we've seen up to a 10% increase in soil or in water holding capacity. So this particular data came from 3 applications. So we're just trying to replicate 3 years of use. So in the lighter soils, up to 10%. More of the mid soil types, I guess, is more of a 4 to 6% increase. And then actually what we found was interesting, those really heavy like gumbo area soils, we're actually seeing the waters going through the soil because they're gluing together in a healthy way and we're helping make air and more space that the water's actually draining through. So it's actually still a positive result. So yeah, when we apply the PhycoTerra, we're feeding the microbiome, we're improving our soil quality, we're hoping to have a crop response. So when we're doing this, we're having an increase of fertilizer availability, our soil structure is improving, and just because we're creating a healthier environment, we're lowering the abiotic stress. So we're recently registered for residue management in Canada now. So this has been pretty cool. It's kind of hit and miss. If you use a lot of corn, you're gonna love this product. Other guys might not have a use for it. So we originally did all these demos at 2 liters an acre. We've repeated them at 1 liter an acre, and we're seeing the exact same results. So 1 liter is the rate we're going with. But what we're seeing when we apply this after harvest, so with our post-harvest burn off, we're seeing a 36% reduction of biomass in the next spring. So we've seen less hair pitting, less trash on soil, warmer soil temperature. So it's been a positive. There is a microbiome on the trash. So we're feeding those microbes and they're able to get to work at breaking down. So yeah, I think these pictures do just demonstrate that it's working to reduce the amount of trash that's left over. Again, like these
That
were all done, repeated at 1 liter.
that could really be a benefit to guys that have corn and potatoes in rotation to break down that corn stubble ahead of your potatoes. Anybody who's dug potatoes knows how much of a pain that can be if there's corn stubble still in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And then yeah, so they did a lot of demonstrations, just measuring the soil temperature. Down south, I know you guys can get in pretty early anyway, so maybe that's not as exciting to you, but some people are worried about it for sure. And then, so our second product is a seed treatment. It's the same microalgae strain. It's just this cell is lysed, so it's cut up is really the only difference. So kind of the same idea. We're feeding the soil microbes. We're helping with that first 10 to 14 days of germination and to just establish the root development. It's really low application results, and we're still seeing yield boosts. So the idea is that we're getting on just the tiny edge of the seed. We're not replacing your typical fungicides, or sorry, your seed treatments. We're just adding in, so you're kind of getting still a microbiome boost. I think this slide's really interesting. I love it, actually. So this was a time lapse for 22 hours. We have treated on the right, untreated on the left. We put a drop of soil bacteria on it, and actually we're seeing that over 22 hours, we're morphing towards the treated seed because there's a food source. So we're just kind of getting that extra bump out of the field. This is just showing our rates. So we're 130 mils on cereal, pulses, oilseed, cover crops, 130 mils per 100 kilograms of seed. So this is a grower cost. You guys can reach out to AgroPlus if you have any questions, but if you're seeding wheat at 2 bushels, it's about $4.25 an acre. So it's not super gonna break the bank, which is nice to try. But yeah, so we're just finding that lots of guys are pretty open to giving these rates a try, and it is such a small amount that it's not, you don't have to worry about your seed being too wet or anything. Like there's room for us on the seed still, so that's been really nice. So in the States, we have PhycoTerra FX registered. Unfortunately, it's not registered in Canada yet. We're hoping by September it will be. So right now we have the seed treatment and the PhycoTerra, which you can also use as the residue management. These are all suggested grower price, so 15 bucks a liter. So it's a liter an acre, so it's $15 an acre for the PhycoTerra, $60 a liter for the PhycoTerra ST. We kind of just went over a rough idea of prices, so it kind of just depends on your seeding rate for that. We'll look at a little bit of data. It's nice, we've got quite a bit in the Lethbridge area. And most of actually all of these are third party or done by another company. So these weren't just trials I did in my backyard, so that's nice. So this one was in Saskatchewan on some canola. A liter of PhycoTerra applied pre-plant. So there's a 6.5 bushel increase. And just I actually met with the guy that did this trial, and he works for a company called Smart Solutions, and he just said the plant matter difference was what he was so impressed with. This one was Manitoba. I left this one in here just because it's really bad drought conditions. So even under drought conditions, we were seeing a 2.3 bushel bump on some wheat. For potatoes, we're really doing well in the potato market, actually. Not only are we seeing an increase in yield, but we're seeing an increase in uniformity and sizes. So just a more marketable yield. That's, I would say, the guy's biggest rave would be that we're able to get more of the potatoes in that marketable size. So it's kind of tough to measure how that increases profit, but yeah, everyone's been pretty pleased with that. Some oats we did. This was in Saskatchewan. Seed treated, 7.9 bushel an acre increase. So yeah, it was just an up and back pass, but yeah, they were very impressed. This again was in Saskatchewan, sorry, but we don't have a lot of a ton of data. We've got a decent amount right now. So 5 bushel an increase on some wheat. This flax, I really think this speaks to how when we have healthier soils, our plants are able to do better. So just looking at the 2 treated plants versus the untreated acres, so 2 plants versus 3 plants, just the biomass alone, like it's pretty impressive. And then they were able to capture a 4.5 bushel increase on this flax. This was an independent agronomist that did quite a few trials, and yeah, he's really excited, and he's still using PhycoTerra, so that's lovely. This was in Tabor, so there was 1 liter an acre of PhycoTerra pre-emerge. So we had of the pre-emerge, it was 12.2 bushel an acre increase. Of the in-furrow, they've seen a 19.6 bushel an acre increase. So yeah, guys with liquid fertilizer for sure for these products have an edge, just you're getting right exactly where you need to be. Farming Smarter in Lethbridge, some wheat. So a liter an acre, we've seen a 6 bushel increase. This was applied pre-emerge. Seed treatment, so 4.1 bushel an acre increase. Still Farming Smarter, so some canola acres, so it was a True Flex. 3.2 bushel an acre increase. This was applied 1 liter an acre in furrow. Some lentils. So this was applied 1 liter an acre pre-emerge, 1.2 bushel an acre increase. Same thing, but this was in furrow, so 3.1 bushel an acre increase on some lentils. So I actually stole these questions from Lyle. They kind of resonated with me, and I kind of took them back to my team. And he said these are 5 questions that they were given to just the biological space. And I know we aren't technically a biological, but we're for sure competing in the same space. But we are an inert product, so not technically a biological, but we're going to get lumped there. But because this space is so crowded, it's tough to weed through what's real and what isn't. And there's a ton of products. As you guys know, you're probably getting bombarded with them. But is the product unique was the first question. And we did some digging. We're the only pasteurized microalgae product that we can find. If you know of another one, please let me know. There's a lot of algae products, but we're pasteurized, so pretty stable. So that's nice. Do you know what is in it? So we can give you a guaranteed analysis of what is in every batch of PhycoTerra. Is it CFIA approved or registered? We are, so that's great. Do you have third-party data in trials? Pretty much all of our data is third-party, so that's been awesome. And then, are you partnered with any major distributors? Right now, we're partnered with Winfield, and we are working with Federated Co-op. So even like the large players, they're seeing a little bit of merit for sure. So that's been nice. So yeah, I really appreciated these 5 questions. And even on my own farm, I've kind of taken them, and they've kind of helped me even just weed out this very busy market. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm good to take them now.
Don't be shy, guys. Well, I got to say the trial data looks pretty impressive. When you're talking about lentils, 3 bushels and 5 bushels in flax is, quite impressive. That's a significant yield bump for this area.
Yeah, and it's nice that they are honestly all like this wasn't just Healy, so my company I work for, it wasn't just our data. We were farmed out, and other people did our trials, so there's a bit of merit to that.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, nice to see those 5 questions in there. As you guys know, there's lots of companies out there that do not share a lot of their ingredient lists. I'm sure most of you have literature from them on your desks right now. Some of these door-to-door guys will not tell you what is in their products or have any third-party testing or anything like that. And it's, side-by-side pictures can be quite easy to fake. And I mean, honestly, anybody can go out in the field, pick a couple plants, and show one side being better than another. Just depends which plants you pick.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, last chance for questions, guys.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Lyle, for having me on. That was awesome.
No problem. I guess I will. Let's see. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I'm going to stop the recording here, and then we're going to go and do the draw.